Hey, good morning, folks, and welcome to December here on Comlands. In Comlands, I don't know. I think we sort of debated that the last time with myself. Are we on Comlands? Are we in the district of Comlands? Is this the county of Comlands? Where are we, anyways? So we're in December. This would be episode 5 of the 200 horsepower challenge parallel series, running with, so far as I know, at time of recording, Crustu is another YouTube channel. Rusty Money Gaming and Gaming Joy. Those are also two other YouTube channels. I had the benefit this morning of watching the first episode of Rusty Money Gaming's series, and it's cool. I remembered, but I sort of forgot that he's on console. So that's adds another layer of variety to what's happening with the four of us posting in this sort of concept. Is you get to see somebody tackle the challenge who's on console, which is cool. So I like to see that he went with the fermenting silo as his sort of initial start. And he made the right comment. He said he likes to have fun. Sometimes you got to kind of balance it a little bit. And as you've seen, I'm a big fan of suffering, or not a big fan of it, but I tend to suffer a lot in this game. I'm not adverse to bailing and that kind of stuff, but with the amount of work ahead of us on this map, having fun with the fermenting silo is probably the right way to go. Just before we get into what else is happening here, I also had an opportunity to watch, I think this was the second episode of Crustu this morning, and lots of suffering going on there too. If it was, it's pretty funny. Anyways, sorry, not laughing at you, man. I'm laughing with you. Hopefully you're laughing too. But it was interesting to see in live time your mental anguish. Anyways, hopefully you get it all figured out. So speaking of mental anguish, after we left each other, I mentioned I was going to get all the grass picked up. So I did that. I got all the grass picked up. I put it into the silo over here. Just as a side note, so we basically have like in all, let's call it 400,000 liters of grass / silage in here. I pulled around 200,000 liters of grass off of that side right there. And we had about 26,000 already in there. So I think that leaves about 175,000 liters that I pulled off of this side. So it was pretty good. Yeah, it was really good. Anyways, so we have what would amount to so 70 about two at $700 per 1,000 liters. Over 400,000 liters of silage. We have about $280,000 worth of silage in there. So that's good news. And we're coming into the between, I think, January, February are the times to sell your silage. Let's just head down to silage here so we can. Yeah, so we're sitting. Oh, look, the animal dealer spiked. 730 something. 732 is the high point. Oh, yeah. No, sorry. Oh yeah, that's February. Yeah, so January and February should represent our top selling time. So I don't anticipate carrying anything into the month of March unless we have any type of dairy operations going. We could, because I was sort of woke up this morning and thought, we should get into some maybe small time dairy, and eventually not dairy, and then eventually maybe grow that into something larger. But so we may want to retain some silage at that point. But this kind of what I was looking at there. If we're not going to do that, then I want to make sure we don't have anything in the bank as we roll into these months, because prices tank. They're still very good, but they tank, and then on the way back up. All right, that's the news on the silage. So we've only got $4,000 in the bank, but I don't think we're going to need to sell any silage immediately here. After we met the last time I went, I picked up all the grass, put it into the fermenting silo. I've added a bit of a track around the back here, because I was taking this sort of back road often as I was moving logs and stuff into the sell point. So I figured, well, we'll just make a bit of a laneway around the back there, and then I put this field in here. Just for the fun of it, I put this field in here at like what's our plow, 3 meters or something. That did not. There's like, so this is going to be what I say, the 5th episode: August, September, October, November. Yeah. So, and basically, there's about 20 hours on the map so far. It's like, oh my god. I was thinking about something. We're limited obviously because we have 200 horsepower max, so we can't I don't have a 600 horsepower tractor that I can tow, like an 18-meter plow with. But we got this old beast here. So I was thinking of something. While I do really like that nice, deep, rich plowed texture, I want to put a field in over here today and make it our sort of our grass field, our carefully cultivated, properly fertilized, treated with kid gloves grass field. And then I know I was saying all this time about not expanding any further, but then eventually, if we do purchase this field 22, which I mentioned in the last episode, that by purchasing field 22, there's a great flat area on the far end over there that would allow us a fantastic spot for a very nice home. Actually, I'm looking at this area too, and it looks nice and flat. So anyways, 22 may become a reality for us. Not so much to farm the other side, but we definitely could. But definitely to maybe add the riverside living that we all so desire. So, and then there's also this field over here. And we're gonna shut up now. So if we put it in a grass field here, we could eventually extend it a little bit further if we wanted. But yeah, I was thinking we'd do that. Now, I don't know that I could stomach another session like this one was when it came to plowing that. Like that plow's just quite skinny. I was half thinking of this. So there's our plow. We're going to get at least $1,500 for it. I would consider taking it all the way up to the store to repair and then paint, and then, well, it's not too expensive anyways, and then sell. So who knows, maybe we get $2,000 for it. But let's say we're definitely into it. We're going to get $1,500 out of it. It looks like, for sure. Then if we head over here and we go down to cultivators, I forever am using cultivators to create fields when starting with small equipment. And this might be one of those times that we want to do that. There is a cultivator, which I don't ever recall using. So if things go wrong, this would be when they would. Right here, there's an 18-meter, or 18, I wish. There's an 8-meter cultivator. Seed bed creation of fields. So I should be able to pick this thing up for $9,200 and make the next field at 8 meters. That's what was the other one? So it's like twice. I can get the field done almost twice the speed. And this thing goes 15 kilometers an hour. This thing goes 15 kilometers an hour. So yeah, roughly or approximately twice the speed I could complete it. So I think we're going to jump on that immediately here. Now it's not going to have the same beautiful. So actually, two problems. Oh, maybe not a big problem with. Okay, let's think about this. So if I use a shallow cultivate or like create that shallow field or whatever, we run into the potential to have weeds. But I don't know how that works in a grass field. Do we still get weeds the same way in a grass field? So as I'm sort of saying this, I'm thinking that we're going to actually. I think we're actually going to get the cultivator, keep the plow, and do it that way. So I was thinking of maybe keeping the plow because if we... So my plan is to get another tractor at some point here and then start employing workers to do some of our dirty work for us. So if we create the field with cultivator and it's sort of the shallow cultivated... shallow, whatever, I don't know what the hell you call it. It's a shallow field and we get weeds, then perhaps we can set a worker on it at some point and have them plow up the field for us in between. If it's a grass field, we can and the field's defined, we should be able to send a worker in there to actually plow it up. And then, that can be done while we're just sort of, enjoying a coffee or whatever. But at least when we've created the field just now to get ourselves started and maybe run the experiment and see if we get weeds in a grass field, we've been able to do it at twice the width. Anyway, so I'm gonna generate a couple bucks here, like all the money we need in order to get that cultivator delivered, and I think we're gonna make a field. So when we make this new field, we're gonna maximize the space, but we want to make sure that we have enough room for what will become buildings, right? So we're going to want to put some buildings in. I was sort of test fitting a few buildings. It's definitely not as flat as it looks there. So we're going to have to be careful, but there's definitely some good opportunities there. So here, let's get this thing purchased. There, perfect. $9,300. We'll find out if it's too heavy here in a second and whether we're going to need a front weight or not. No. Ye old Dootsfar has got it handled. All right, so let's head down here to this edge. Let's hope we don't have any surprises here. Oh my gosh, look at that. So luxurious. It's so much wider. I'm not gonna lie, it was painful creating the new field there that you see behind me. That was not fun. You know what, let's go over here and we'll figure out how far over we want to take this, because I would like to leave some of the end over here so I can create access to what would eventually become our home. Maybe I'll just go to about there for now and then we'll see what it looks like. Okay, first step is good. It's creating a field. Can't tell you how many times I've gone to put down an implement thinking I'm going to be creating a field and then nothing happens. Getting some weird flashing there in the dust mod or whatever it's called. Just really trying to hug that line there. I don't want to necessarily go with what I was able to mow because I don't know if I have some kind of mod that enables me to mow outside my boundaries. So in episode 2, which posted today, I had somebody let me know that the standing water is likely being caused by the REA mod. I think it was dynamic dirt. So that's interesting. I guess it would show where potential low areas are and you know where water may collect, which definitely makes sense. I've never seen it before in any map, and I typically play with it on. So this is going to be a grass field. I'm going to actually right now, while there's no standing water there, and I think it's where that bush is right there that I'm looking at. I'm gonna go through the whole thing anyways, and we're gonna create just one giant field. We're gonna get it all set up and planted today, and if I get standing water at some point, then I just won't mow that spot. We'll just leave it and then you know, let the water be. But I'm gonna do the whole thing here right now. I'm probably gonna expand this up to the road, but I want to just kind of get across here and get the initial rectangle set up. As tempting as it would be to make, you know, interesting looking fields with, you know, curves and things like that, I'm sort of sticking to a bit of a grid and you know, just fairly square shapes, mostly so when I do employ workers, it's going to be a lot easier for them to figure out what the hell they're doing. The texture actually doesn't look too bad on here. When I was using a shallow cultivator or whatever on hinterland, for example, the texture looks a lot worse than this. This has like a sort of a nice fluffy velvety look to it. I hope I don't jinx myself, but I am oh, okay, you can see where the patchy grass is what's causing those light brown spots. Yeah, so I hope I don't jinx myself, but I've now out of the 4 episodes that I've recorded, 2 of them have had a major game crash in the middle of it, and I don't have, and my game never crashes like any other map. It just does not crash, and playing on this map, it's now crashed twice for me. So something is obviously clashing in the background. But I've done nothing different. Like I have the same set of mods. Like I have everything's the same on this playthrough as what I typically would have. So it doesn't make sense to me that I would see crashes like that, but hoping for no drama today. I like little details, like look at the reflection of the tail lights on the implement there, and when I turn, it shifts the perspective and the reflection. This is why I find the modding absolutely mind-blowing, that the stuff people can create and bring to life on your screen is ridiculous. Maybe there's programs available. I'm completely ignorant when it comes to this, but I mean, when I see people talk about things like Real Engine or whatever, like stuff like that, like that has sort of lighting simulations built into it, and if you utilize some of these tools, then it kind of helps your process, I guess, is how it works. But somebody has to create this stuff. That's the part that's insane to me. Somebody has to actually plug in the numbers and make the thing do that thing. Like I remember so, you know, as of recording, time of recording of this, I'll be 48 in a couple days, and I remember my dad early on. We had a Commodore. I can't remember honestly who was the. I know you're like, oh my god, is he gonna say Commodore? Yeah, we had the VIC 20, and then whatever, the Commodore VIC 20, and then the next one was the 24 or whatever. And I remember there was a game, and I don't remember all the details because it's quite a while back, but there was a game called, I think it was called Run Amok, and you had the ability to program something in the game. And I'll never forget as an early kind of experience with being able to like program something to do something. I was amazed. Since then, I've never really programmed anything, but I've always been amazed by how things can be created in the current world. Like I don't really play games. I guess the only game of recent that we played was my kid playing like hunting Bigfoot, and the graphics in that, like you know, when you're walking through the woods and birds are jumping out in front of you and wolves are howling and the moonlight's shining off the trees, like it's just unbelievable, the graphics, you know. So I find that amazing. I know there's probably a million games out there that have really, really good graphics, and I just haven't played them or whatever, but I'm amazed by that game, because when you're walking through the woods and you're hoping that Bigfoot doesn't jump out at you, it's amazing. Like it feels like you're in the woods, and you know, your heartbeat starts going, and it's well, there's a like the birds will literally, like if you stir up the brush and there's birds in there, they'll jump out, and it scared the crap out of me on so many different occasions. It's pretty funny anyways. But look at this is amazing. I can't even tell you how much nicer it is with this twice the working width, and knowing that I'm creating barring the weeds, we'll have to see how that whole thing goes, especially on a grass field. But the fact that I'm creating a field which is just as capable as the field on the other side of the road there, and it's taking me, I'm doing this twice as fast. I don't even think, like, I know they both, the plow and this cultivator, say they can go at 15 kilometers an hour. I don't think I was going at 15 kilometers an hour. We're gonna have to, no, actually I didn't record it because I did it in between episodes. Yeah, I don't know what speed I was going at, but it was not fast, I can tell you that much. I did, in all honesty, midway through, jump into the landscaping menu to see if we had painted fields, or painted, if one of the painted textures was plowed field. Like, oh man, I wonder if that's something, because right about now I would just go and paint in the rest of the field and be done with it, but that does not exist on this map, so I was forced to keep going. It reminds me of back, I don't remember how long ago this was, but I one year I sort of woke up in the spring and decided I wanted to start running, and I was going to run a marathon that year. And I'd never run, actually. So when I first went and hit the pavement outside, I couldn't even run to the end of my street without stopping. I couldn't run, like I had to run, like, from one lamp pole to the next and then walk the next. It was crazy. But by the end of the summer, I was running, my training runs. I'd hit the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning and run 20 kilometers and then go to the gym and then go to work and then do that like multiple times of the week. And then finally that fall, I ran a half marathon, and then quickly after that ran a full marathon in Toronto. It was horrible. I completed the marathon and then never ran again. I remember in what might have been like the last 5 kilometers of 40 or whatever a marathon is, there was a lady. We're on Lakeshore in Toronto, and about to head up, I think, University up to Queen's Park where the big finish was, and I watched a lady like kind of veer off the course, hail a cab. She got, so this is after running like 35 kilometers, and I would have been like easily, I mean, it took me 4 hours to run the marathon, so this was like, I don't know, call it 3/4 of the way, so whatever that works out to be. But I mean, so she obviously has put in a lot of work to get to that point. She jumped in a cab, and I watched the whole thing. The cab driver, her saying I have no money, and him kicking her out, and her getting out of the cab and then completing the marathon in front of me. Like, what goes through somebody's mind that they would do that? Well, I thought about that when I got halfway through plowing that field. I know it's physically not the same, but mentally it was just brutal. So if I had that out and I had the money or had the painted field texture there, I would have been all over it, but I didn't have it, so I kept on going. All right, we're coming into, I think it should be the last pass. I think it should be just wide enough here, and then you get a good chance to see how far we went. So I went right up to the road there, left that corner on the far side there, thinking that might be where we'd want to put some buildings. Now, if later on we don't use all the space, then we can obviously claim it as a field. But for now, we'll just go with this. What a crazy texture, the two-tone dirt there, but definitely it's where there's a certain weed or there's a certain grass that's baked into the field grass here that is causing that. As you can see, here, I'll go over here, I'll show you. I think you probably already saw it anyways, but I'm going to show you again. Yeah, like, see how the lighter grass there, almost like two different grasses were used here. Yeah, like this has these sort of weeds in them, and this grass doesn't. This is low. It's funny how it's different like that, but maybe it's the soil type. Anyways, so that yeah, you can see how that's reflected here, where we got the nice chocolatey brown dirt, and then over here we have a mixture. So anyways, yeah, that's a decent sized field. We've got to be able to pull, I mean, if I pulled off roughly that size field right there, if I pulled 150 or 175,000 liters of grass off of that, once this is fertilized and everything is going good, I should be able to pull more off of here, shouldn't I? So we can get a couple 100,000 liters of silage out of that 3 times a year, or whatever amounts to. That'll be pretty good. I should mention, there is this little section right here too, which could potentially house a shed or something. So I tried to just leave. I kind of figured this, like, in the end, as much as I'd like to have just a big traditional compound, we may kind of employ a build where it's kind of like both sides of this road, because we have this corner here. So, I mean, if there were other farmers on the map, it's likely they'd have a right of way through our property here on the way to their farms, but and we sort of build around it here. Okay, so we're gonna go put this fantastic cultivator. That was a joy. That was actually like a pleasure dragging that thing around compared to that little plow. No offense, little plow, but you can go to, can't just lower this. I can. Yeah, okay. Never mind. I can kind of push it in there. If I can drive straight. Forget sometimes to lower these things. So let's purchase the field data for these 2 fields, and then we'll get them ready. 2,500 bucks. It's pretty reasonable. I mean, I pay for my samples, and then I'm paying an extra $1,000 to have somebody do this rather than me go and have to purchase the tool plus all the samples. Yeah, I'm wondering if this is where we're seeing the difference in soil types. But anyways, I think does this mean we're getting into better soil types here? And we have stuff growing all over the place here. I'm really worried that it's going to be harvest season or harvesting time, and there's going to be snow on the ground. I honestly have no idea how that's going to work here with. Oh, look at the map. Sorry, I should shut this off. Look at the map. How it shows like dark blue through this section. Is that a representation of the standing water? That's weird. Anyways, yeah, sorry, I was gonna say I hope there's no snow, because I don't know what, when you turn seasons off and you can plant any time, and I mean the crops don't necessarily grow faster or slower, I don't think, but you know, we should see snow here in January, next month, really. When we're done this, we'll go check the crops to see what they say as far as growth stage. Maybe does seasonal, maybe I'm reading it wrong, and nobody's actually made a comment on this yet, but maybe does seasonal, turning seasons off or whatever it is, are the harvest times still the regular harvest times, but it just means you can plant at any time? Maybe that's what it means. Maybe it doesn't affect the, missed a spot there. Maybe it doesn't actually affect the harvesting times. Maybe it affects when you can plant it. Was I looking at that the wrong way? I should have read up on what it actually means, but I didn't. Yeah, because originally what I was thinking is, oh, maybe, you know, if corn takes 3 months to grow normally, maybe, you know, I can just sort of keep planting corn, and every 3 months I can just keep harvesting it. But no, maybe it's still set to whatever, you know, if corn's harvestable in the month of August, then that's what it's going to be here. But you know, I could plant it in February if I wanted. I wonder if that's how this works. I'm going to say right now that I'm going to look that up so I know for the next episode, in case nobody actually comments on this, but I can't promise that. So I think we're seeing together the, remember what I was saying in the last, I think it was in the last episode, about comparing this to the dropper and the amount of product that it uses. So we're barely using any, we've almost done this entire field and we've barely used any lime, versus that dropper that was just eating it alive. So this field here, I believe I'm going to put wheat into this field, only with the thought that I'll probably want to take some straw bales off of it for a potential dairy operation. I don't think straw itself is worth very much, although we're an easy economy here, so maybe it is worth something. But so my plan's not necessarily to grow the wheat and then put the straw into the ground. It's possibly stockpiling the straw for future animals. Animals would require land, of which we've now basically committed to fields. So obviously we're going to be investing in, this is going to be like the broken record syndrome of this series, where I say, okay, that's probably enough for land. And then next thing you know, I'm out buying more plots of land. So that's fantastic. I haven't even used half of what was in here for lime, and we're done that field. That's the way it should be. I think I turned that off too soon. Just amazing. Look at that. Once you put the lime down, you don't see all those weird blotches. Well, a little bit. I wasn't stressing out too much about how far to take this. I mean, this is going to be a grass field, so it's going to blend in with the surroundings regardless. Man, we're making such good time. It's amazing what the right tools can do for you. Like between replacing the dropper with this thing and using that cultivator that we just created this field with, like, man, it's cutting our time down insanely. We may so I have an idea of what home I'd like to eventually put on the water. Actually, maybe I can't, because I don't think it's I think it's an Elk Mountain house, and I don't think it's on Mod Hub. I'll have to double check. But a beautiful house, great windows, would be a nice view, nice deck. But maybe it's not a Mod Hub, so maybe we can't use it. Anyways, well, it might be a PC only mod on Mod Hub. what we might do so we can get out of that stupid tent is, until we can probably get through 1 year of harvest and we can afford to put in our big home, what I might do is run a driveway down that end anyways, and then we can put in kind of a starter home, and then eventually we can knock that out, and or while we're and then when we get the next piece of property and we extend, I'll show you what I mean. So if I come over here, I can put the driveway in here. I could put a smaller starter home right here at the end of the laneway, and then once the budget allows and we can purchase the next piece of property and we can afford the house, then we can expand the driveway, put in our new home, and then tear down our starter home. Okay, so the rest of this is going to be done with the cedar. Oh, yeah, there it is, right next to the silo. I do have some seeds. We didn't really go through a lot of fertilizer actually when we were planting the oats, which was surprising. I'll refill this in case that bag disappears. Oh, lower that. Don't drop it from high altitudes. Okay, that's perfect. Let's go plant some wheat and some grass. Yeah, you know what? I don't think we have any more seeds. But yeah. Fertilizer. Perfect. Okay, well, I mean, we could move the store to right here and get some seeds. Oh. Do you do that every time you go into the store? Double check the sales stuff? That's just me. I'm thinking everybody does that. Did Daggerwin ever go and fully flush out his theory about using new equipment only? I know he was talking about, well, let's use the Finn product here. Oh, these are both Finnish. We'll go with the Peltosimen. Because yeah, he was talking always about his theory where he'd buy only new equipment, and because it would reduce the amount of maintenance that had to be done, and he thought something about depreciation, maintenance, overall cost of running, but I don't know if he ever actually expanded on that theory. Anyways, I run with the thought that I'm gonna go with used equipment. Because the depreciation, if you can get something that's 60% off, like that's a pretty massive reduction. Oh, wait, that did say wheat, right? Wheat. Yeah, so if you can get something that's 60% off, that's a pretty substantial drop in overall cost. So I mean, let's say you have $100,000 piece of equipment and you can buy it for $40,000. That's a $60,000 savings, and the amount of maintenance that you would need to do on that to bridge that gap would be quite a bit. And then I would believe, but I don't have, I mean, I've never actually sort of tested this, but I would believe that if you go to resell that, the depreciation, like as a percentage or whatever, is not going to be anywhere close to as great. First of all, as a percentage of what it was at the beginning, but because you're dealing with a lower value now, even if it was a 60% reduction, you know, you're talking about real dollars, so who cares about the percentages? It could just be less money, obviously. So anyways, don't know if he's ever fully tested that. Maybe it's just theory and hope, but I'm gonna stick with the used equipment as my go-to if I can get it. If it's a 30% savings or whatever, maybe it's not worth it, but sometimes you get those massive deals. Wow, okay, so now we're gonna have canola, sunflowers, oat, wheat, and grass. So there's a variety. I will research. So there's some of those small, like I think Omatana has a collection of small production buildings, and I think one of them is a small bakery. I might look at what financial benefit would be to like comparing raw wheat or oats, for example. I don't know if you can turn oats into anything, but I think you can turn to oat flour. But I'd like to compare what that raw, input, like the wheat or the oats, would sell for compared to like bread, for example, or just wheat. And then maybe look at a couple of those small production buildings, because I know they're not very expensive, and then they're not going to take up a lot of room, which is nice. mean, eventually we can get into sort of bigger buildings and things like, who knows where this series is going to go. At the beginning here, if we wanted to just use a small footprint and make our product go a little bit further for financially, and we probably want to look at that sooner than later. So when we do get to harvest, that we've got somewhere to put it. All right, that was pretty uneventful. Almost got our wheat in. Man, what a variety. My intention is not to have, are they called multi-fruit silos, where you can basically, is that a real thing in real life? Like where you dump all of your grain into a grate and it sorts automatically? Or is there, like, if that's the kind of silo, like, do you flip a lever and direct the grain to go into a certain area, or how does that work? Or does it even exist? Or was a multi-fruit silo just created for Farming Simulator and gameplay? Because what I'm going to try to do to maintain some form of realism is to not just dump all my product into one silo, and then when it comes time to extract it, just go into the menu and decide what I want to extract. So we're going to need to think about that, which would mean that we can't just keep all the stuff that we harvest. We're going to have to sell some stuff, or like put it right into production, for example. But then how much will the production take? Okay, so let's flip this over to grass now. Make sure we are getting grass. Perfect. It's gonna be good. I hope by fertilizing, putting the lime down, fertilizing, although it doesn't look like it's fertilizing very strong because we're still a shade of orange down there in the mini map. I wonder if we have to then also go and spread a second dose of fertilizer on here. But yeah, I'm wondering if grass is a standard yield, or can you increase your yield by treating your field properly? We'll remember when we go to mow this field for the first time. If we get more than 200,000 liters of grass, then definitely it is a thing. Map grass versus a cultivated, prepared, fertilized field. So time will tell. So we're sitting at 1:25 in the afternoon here. I started a little bit later in the day. Normally I like to get started around 6, but it's dark early, and there's no sense trying to film content when it's dark. It doesn't look great. So I figured we'll just move ourselves. I think what did we end up starting at? Around 9 o'clock, I think, is the time. So, but 1:30 game time. I do want to get some more stuff done here before the month is done. Really, before the year is done. If it's December, that means we're about to move into a different year. Obviously, we're in year 1 of the series, but so I know, like, I think I'm enjoying the 1 day per month gameplay here. It does put pressure on you to get a lot of stuff done in a month, obviously, because once the month changes, you're done. But I like the fact that every time we wake up, it's a new month, and you could potentially have crops grown further than where they were the month before, or whatever. Like lots changes in a month. If we were on Valley Springs and it was 1 day per month, then we'd be cutting checks for 10 grand every time we woke up because I have that massive loan. But in this case here, I'm kind of liking it. I don't think I mentioned that I did put in it's a fuel station. It's the 2 ICB containers with the pump on it. So I put that in behind the shed. I want to say that was 2 grand. And then I bought 500 liters of diesel. I think it was like $1,800. So I did need to put some fuel in this tractor partway through putting the wheat in. I didn't fill it though. I do this in real life too. Like, not so much my car. I've got a 2017 GTI, a Golf, and that doesn't take any fuel. But I've also got an '05 Tundra, and the Tundra, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess our gas is at what, $1.30 or $1.40 per liter or whatever. I don't even know what it's at right now, but I know that when it's bone dry and I just put $100 in, that it gets to like 3/4. So, I mean, I don't know how many liters it is, but I rarely do I fill it because I just don't have the patience to stand there. Especially it's winter time too, so it's cold. But I just don't have the patience to stand there and fill it. So I end up having to stop more often. Really, it probably works against me, but I just can't stand there while I pump an entire fuel tank's worth of fuel into the truck. All right, one more pass. Kind of a weird spot here coming up. I ran out of fertilizer at one point and didn't realize, so I was planting, but I didn't put I wasn't fertilizing. And let's take a look. There, big ass field here, one over there. We got our wheat in now, we have our grass in, we have oats on the far end over there, sunflowers growing over there in the valley where there's no sun, and canola. Okay, I got an idea. A small step up from a tent. But so we're not going to go with like the Pioneer type tent. Or what's this? I don't even know what this is. Garden decoration? I don't think I've ever even seen this. It's like a hammock with a little gazebo. I think what we might do, this screams temporary. And I could just essentially put a road in and kind of park it off to the side like this. And we would have our temporary lodging where we could park our heads every night. And then when it comes time, we can put the road further and tackle that field. That field there is probably going to be our next purchase. And we'll then have more grass to mow, more silage to make, and we can put in our house. But I don't have enough money right now, so we're going to have to go sell a load of silage. I think we're going to put that in right now, so we don't have to sleep in the tent tonight. So we'll stuff that there. Let's see what's going on with the silage here anyways. Maybe we can speed it up a bit. I actually had the time down a little bit there. Let's check the prices. So sell everything is still at around $700. Okay, animal feeding has jumped up. Animal feeding is like basically right at what the total is at the max. So $30 per 1,000 liters. 10 would be 300. So, I mean, for what we need right now to put our house in, that won't make a big difference. But to take the silage all the way up to the top, would be worth it. Because on 100,000, it's a lot. Wonder what month we're gonna get the harvest, or are we gonna have to wait until spring? If my newest theory is correct, and despite being able to plant whenever, we have to wait until the proper time to harvest, it kind of makes sense. I'm thinking that might be what it is. Then we're going to be a little while before we can harvest. It's going to be spring, but also means we don't have to purchase a harvester anytime soon. Okay, let's go put down, I think we probably have enough money to put in a rudimentary driveway and our temporary home down at the end. Why put it there and not up near the rest of the stuff, you ask? Because it's temporary. Well, you know what? Just because I want to put it over here. So it's closer to the river. We're going to spend $1,000 on this. So let's just get that painted out down here first. I kind of like, so when you're putting gravel and stuff down, I kind of always like to put a bit of a dirt border first anyways, and then maybe let the dirt shine through a bit, because I mean, it would, if you were doing this in real life, you likely would prepare the area. It would be dirt first, right? And then sometimes around the borders, you see dirt. Let's put the house down, buildings. Throw her down there on a bit of an angle, you know? There you go, so cozy. And then I want to put a road in there. Definitely burning through cash, but not in any horrible rate. Let's see what kind of mess we created here. Yeah, that works. Grass will grow in around it. Can't really see the river, but obviously you can see if we expand over to here and we place our house kind of like looking out this way, we're gonna have a kick-ass view off the back deck. So before I put this in, I'm gonna have to confirm. Yeah, see, there's an Elk Mountain modding house, which is a really nice one. Yeah, is this home on the mod hub? We set the pad up nicely. We could have a pretty substantial view right there. Right, and we can live out here on the outskirts of our property. Oh, actually, sorry, if we're on field 22, it would have to be more like over here. So, anyways, not yet. I gotta see if that's on Mod Hub. Otherwise, we're gonna have to pick something different, obviously. All right, so that's good. So let's go get rid of the tent. I'm not gonna worry about this grass on the side here because I know it's gonna grow back. I think if I had free landscaping on, then I'd probably just put the grass back so I didn't have to look at the dirt, but maybe throw in some bushes, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now because it ain't free, you know what I'm saying? How much is that field anyways? Farmland. So it's $118,000. So not horrible. We're not going to be too far off. I guess they're giving us a bit of a break because of the river. So I don't know. Should that be a priority or should I be looking at one of these two fields at 147,000 or 100? That's the big daddy right there. 178,000 is a lot more versus 118. So this will probably be the next one. We can mow both sides. This will be a bit of a pain in the butt when we're picking it up because we'll have to take the grass all the way back over here, but look, and we're like slowly making our way up to the top of the map. Anyway, bit of a casual episode there. I don't know that there's much else we're going to do right now. Well, you know what? Sorry, let's just quickly look at some of these mini production buildings. More out of curiosity right now than anything else because we obviously don't need, like, we don't need parking for a harvester. We don't need any of that stuff right now. This kind of thing is I think is pretty cool. We may put something like this over here so we can put the harvester in it actually, but that's not what I was looking for here. We were looking for productions. Yeah, like look at all these farm production packs. These are interesting. We had greenhouses. All right, phone ringing there. If we had greenhouses, we could potentially be pulling some stuff to make juice and things like that. Their bakery right there. So on the very least, we could throw in a bakery and we could make, what do we have on there? We have well, obviously we're gonna have wheat, so we can make flour and then immediately turn that flour into bread if we do that. So wheat has a high price of $1,200. Flour has a high point about $800 more. And bread is ridiculous. What the heck? Okay, so that's what we're doing. Obviously, we're going to be making bread. $5,000. The low point's $3,800. All right, we're going to become bread. What? Look at that cake. Holy life and easy economy. All right, so obviously we're going to be making flour and then bread. I don't know how fast that happens, but holy crap. It's not money we have to spend right now. I think what the next thing that's going to happen is going to be overnight. This beast here is going to be making silage for us. Once we get that silage, the next step for us really is going to be. We don't have much else to do other than well, it's buy another piece of land, and then we can maybe what we can do if we buy that 121. So why do I keep calling it that? If we buy 120 or whatever that is over here, yeah. So if we did get this piece of land over here, we could pull the grass off of it, you know, because cows don't need grass. And then how do you not do something like this? And I'm pretty sure I don't see why I can't get milk off of this. Yeah, so like the cows can live in this area here. Does that mean they're going to end up in the water? You know, maybe we have to respect the water, and then they're going to end up in our grass field. I mean, that's not the worst thing. If they end up in our grass field, then they end up in our grass field, but I don't want them crossing the road, so all right, we're going to have to look at that. I want the large number of animals, and so this one holds 150 cows. Yeah, see, it's hard, right? You just get pushed. You get pushed towards the same things every time, because I could use this, which looks really cool. Actually, I like it. You know, it's definitely the real estate that you need for it is quite a bit smaller, which is good. But it gives you 150 cows, and you got to pay $33,000 for it. Where if I go over here, I've got 250 cattle, and I only got to pay $5,000 to put that in. That doesn't really compare, right? You know, we could potentially do this too. We could maybe spend $10,000 and put 2 of these in. Maybe that's what we do. We put one there and kind of one over here. We could fit 2 of these in and have 200 cows. That might be what we do. And then I can see right there, like so what I don't know in this one, I'm assuming that you can get milk from it, but I don't, when you sort of hold it over the area, you don't see the triggers. When you hold this one out there, you see the water, you see where you put the food, and then you see where you take the milk off the side there. And I don't understand how manure works as far as where you put like a manure pit or anything like that, or I don't know, what do you call it? Manure pit. So like if I put this, we may put this a little off the road, and then I might try to put in something for manure if possible. Yeah, because I could still fit 2 of these in. Anyways, whatever, we'll play around with it. I need that field first, obviously. Actually, it's funny because it's going to let me put that in the field and I don't even own it, so I'm not going to do that yet. So we do have to buy that field, so that'll be likely in the next episode. We'll be buying that field. We'll be crossing our fingers that there's some further progression with our fields here, and that maybe they've grown a little bit. And then, yeah, I don't know. And then we'll just keep doing what we're doing here as we plug along here in Calmlands. So this is the month of December. Episode 5, I guess. Definitely go, if you missed it somehow, go and check out the other 3 YouTube channels that are all linked in the description. Bye-bye tent. Hello. Man, our house is so far away. Anyways, I'll make my way. I might putter around a little bit before December's over, and then we'll see you in January. Okay, so please, if you haven't subscribed already, I don't really ask very often, but if you're one of the people that are watching these videos and you haven't subscribed, it would be kind of cool if you did. I'd really appreciate that. I got a message from YouTube saying that I'm, I mean, I guess everybody is, but I'm an accepted partner once I meet the parameters. I just think it would be, maybe I just like quirky stuff, but I think it'd be kind of cool to get a paycheck from Google, considering they're taking over the world, and I've probably paid them way too much money in a previous life with advertising and everything. So it would feel like redemption if they paid me $1. Anyways, hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much. Take it easy and goodbye.